My name is Arel Eli Israel. My gang name, when I was from Campanella Park Piru, was G-Twin. We're in Campanella Park, in Compton, California, 90220. I was born in a hospital called Dominguez Valley Hospital. I was brought from the hospital to the hood. My pops is from Texas, right? And I remember when the sheriff used to drive down the street, my pops used to make us call the cops pigs, you know? He used to make us call them pig, like, call him a pig, son, call him a pig. And we make a pig noise, like, rear, rear. And the police would drive right by us, just look at us and frown at us, and we just keep calling them pigs. So that was like 475, we was doing that, you know? But that's one of my earliest memories, you know? It was a fond memory, actually, believe it or not.
So before you got put on the Campanella, or before you became a Campanella,
because I never
didn't get put on.
No, I never got put on.
Did you used to come to this park as a kid?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, my moms wouldn't let us when we was little that much without supervision, but we would sneak and come up here because all our friends we went to school with hung out up here. So we would sneak and come up here, you know what I'm saying?
And was that because your mom was already concerned with the streets of Compton and what it was like?
No, my mom was crazy. You know what I mean? My mom was crazy, bless her soul. She was loving in a way, but you know, my mother was real abusive to me and my brother. She actually used to beat on us. So every chance we had to get away from her, we rebelled and get away from her.
Now, as a kid, do we understand the difference between discipline and abuse?
Yeah.
And you understood that clearly then or now?
I understood it clearly then because I've been disciplined in a loving way. Like, for instance, my father, when my father disciplined us, he would hug and kiss on us afterwards, you know, and let us know what we did wrong. And he maybe had whooped us maybe 3 or 4 hits with the belt. My mother be like, come here, you look just like your pops, pop. You know what I mean? Sock us in the face. Yeah, she did a lot of things to us that just, you know, if we used the bathroom and the bathroom stunk, she would clown us, made us feel low. It got to the point where we even started using the bathroom in the neighbor's backyard because they was crackheads and their grass grew up about this tall, so we used to use the bathroom in their backyard. You know, we became fearful of her, you know. So when I felt like back then in the 70s, we used to use a word, when you call somebody a punk, that was the worst you can call them back in the 70s, a punk or a sissy, you know. And so back then, I felt like a punk. And so, because of what my mom was doing to me. So when I had a chance to see something different by being violent towards somebody, it was like a redemption. You know, it was like I was being redeemed in a way, like I'm not a punk, you know, because of what moms was doing to us. My childhood wasn't a happy childhood, really, you know. And honestly, I didn't get over what happened to me in my childhood until I was 18. I was in Texas and my cousin, we used to play in a Dirty Dozen, Your Mama jokes. And then my cousin said, that's why your mama used to beat y'all butt. And I broke down and started crying. I'm 18 years old. I broke down like a baby, snot flying everywhere, tears everywhere. And he was like, what's wrong? And it's like everything that happened, it just came out. Everybody was shocked that my mother was treating me and my brother that way because they said that my grandparents didn't do her like that. And my grandparents coincidentally stayed across the street from us. Like if you go across the street, 5 houses down, they stayed across the street from us and they were very loving. My grandmother's from Wewoka, Oklahoma. She was Native American and my grandfather was from Eden, Oklahoma. And they moved here when they were young and ended up meeting and then settled right here in Compton. My grandmother, I used to talk a lot to her and she used to tell me stories about how I used to flood and they would have to stack furniture in the house just to get away from the waters, the rising waters, and even have to go to the rooftops at times. And she told me the last day they was in that town because they had decided to move because of how the white folks was treating them. And she said the last day they were there, she remembered the Klan hanging a black man, and they left on horse and buggy out of that town, you know. So I remember stories like that because I used to always talk to her. My grandfather, we didn't share too many stories. He didn't share too many stories with me about that because he was a preacher. So he was real busy and really active in the church a lot, you know.
You went to school here in Compton?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to?
I started off at a private school called Redeemer, and then I ended up going right there to McKinley. Well, first off, we had the money, and it is obviously at that time we had the money, but obviously it was something my mother saw that she didn't want us involved in, maybe trying to protect us from the environment, you know, our environment or whatever. And after my pops left, he ended up leaving, things became harder. You know, my mother ended up getting on the county, and I remember her crying and struggling to pay rent and things like that. And so eventually we left private school, ended up going to McKinley. My father was he was a multimillionaire drug dealer, and he eventually started using. and then I know we ended up losing everything. So,
So your father was hustling back in the day?
Oh yeah, named Michael Fauché. He was well known up in L.A. He's from Houston, Texas, but he was well known. We had different houses, cars, boats, all that. We had a lot of property back then. He had a gold investment business, real estate business, a lot of stuff. But he ended up using, and then he ended up killing somebody at the airport at LAX. They tried to rob him and my uncle because he used to also transport PCP from here to New York. And cocaine. So they tried to rob him at LAX, and he ended up killing the man at LAX, and he had to pay $500,000 to a judge, and the judge told me get out of Cali. So he ain't been back since.
He's still around?
He's still alive. He in Texas right now. Yeah, he in Texas.
So did your dad ever kind of like lace you on street game and the hustling game or anything like that?
Not at all. One thing I firmly believe, which I saw within myself, my dad wasn't here for the most part, but I ended up doing the exact same things he did. It was like a curse, and I don't know, back then I didn't know how to explain it, but I noticed I noticed I was doing the same things that he did. My brother and I was doing the exact same things. And outside of abusing drugs, I never smoked no drugs and nothing like that, but the violence, the guns, the women, everything my dad did, me and my brother ended up doing the exact same thing, and he wasn't even here to raise us.
Okay, so when you started going to McKinley Elementary School, what was it like there during first, second, third grade years?
Man, I started McKinley in the 4th grade, so it was a shock. It was a new world when you walk into school with kids that's smoking weed in the 4th grade. Because I remember I tapped my brother. I said, "Hey man, they smoking the same thing moms be smoking." You know what I mean? And we'd be like, it was a shock. So yeah, it was a culture shock. It was a culture shock.
So
seeing them wearing red and me not really understanding what that was about at that time.
So the private school had like a different level of discipline and behavior?
Oh yeah.
It was very obvious.
Sheltered, yeah, sheltered and disciplined, structured, yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember sitting out here in the baseball field, because I played baseball when I was a little kid, and I was on my knees because my coach had told us we could rest because he was hitting pop flies to us. And my coach was from Campanella Park, Big B. He was from the hood. And some dudes, about 15 dudes they walked across the field. And just as quick as they came, they was trying to leave. And one of them stopped and said, "What's up, cuz?" to me. So this was in the 70s. Maybe I was about 7 or somewhere up in there, maybe 6. And he said, "What's up, cuz?" And I just, okay. And then so after they walked off, my coach said, "Hey, Mario, what they say to you?" I said, "They said, 'What's up, cuz?'" He said, "What?" And he threw the baseball bat down, and he came over here, and next thing I know, man, he came with like 20 people, man. And they just started shooting. They just chased him through the park, started shooting at him. So that was my first experience with the hood, but I still didn't understand really what it was. I just knew that to be a Crip was a bad thing.
That must have been traumatic, maybe?
No.
The first, no?
No, it wasn't traumatic. It was interesting. Like, wow. I mean, I'm like a little kid with his, at the candy store, like, it's like, wow, what's going on? So no, I was interested in it.
So you must have really looked up to Big B, your baseball coach at that time.
Yeah, I did.
He was sort of like the protector around here.
We had a few people because see, our hood is fractured, because I come from 148th Street, which back in the day was called the ELG, 8-line gang. And then, so the 8 didn't really get down too much like the 9, too much back in the day, And actually they used to feud. And then over there is 146th Street gang. And that's 149th Street gang over there and 150th Street gang. But the 8 gang is the biggest. But really, it's like I never understood it coming up really because we all Campanella Park. We was all Campanella Parks. But after a while, the structure was different. They move a little different on different sides of the hood. They just move a little different.
And which side is closest to the park?
Well, right here is the 9. The apartment's right there. So I would say, and then the 6 is right there. So I guess I would say the 9. But the 8 is right there. Literally, 148th Street is literally right there.
And at some point, everyone picks one of these.
Yeah, you're gonna choose a street. You're gonna choose a street.
What junior high school did you go to, and what's that like?
Went to Vanguard. That was another culture shock. At Vanguard, that's when the banging really started. At Vanguard, that's when you start speaking a different type of language. The gang lingo, the dress code. Like I said, it was a different world. It was different.
You and your brother started to embrace this identity around the same time?
Yeah, I think he did it first. My brother was real sneaky, and my grandfather had died, and And we were feuding, at that time we was feuding with Anthony's Park, because some of Anthony's was Piru's, Anthony's Park Piru, and then some of was Anthony's Park Bloods. But we were feuding with them when I was going to Vanguard. And the bounty hunters, the bounty hunters was coming up there from Nixon Guard. I mean, it'd be little bitty kids driving cars with bounty hunters spray painted on the side of the car. You know, all you see is a pair of knuckles on the steering wheel, you know, in the head, top of the head. So we was feuding with a few people. And then I went in the backyard one day and my brother had a 38 and a 32 revolver. And I was like, man, where you get those from? And he lied on one of my other homeboys that stayed across the street from him, said he got them from him, a dude named Pumpkin. And later on I found out it was my grandfather. So he gave me the 32, he had the 38, and we was walking to school and our plans was to kill them at Anthony's Parks, you know, to kill the dudes from Anthony's. You know, and the bounty hunters, whoever gave us a hard time, we was planning on knocking them down.
Now, what's the deal with all these Bloods feuding with each other at that time? Because really, from the 80s, Bloods were really tight and united.
Right.
Now, I'm assuming this is around the 80s.
Just the 80s.
Yeah, this is the 80s.
84, somewhere up in there.
Yeah.
83, 84.
So this is kind of like uncharted territory where Bloods are having conflict with Bloods, because it was uncommon to be doing that. Like, what got that going?
Well, I never really dealt with Crips. Like, I didn't even know, I knew the diss word for Crips, but I never knew what Crips called us, you know what I mean? So I never had no interaction with Crips. So it was natural, kind of, even though I felt the love, the camaraderie between Bloods. But see, the thing is, I started noticing a different, a way that Bloods move and the way Pirus move. So to me, we were different. Even though we said blood, it was about the P. You know, like this is the P and that's the B. So it was all about the P for me. And so in the Bloods will cross P's out that I noticed, you know. And it depended on who you talk to, what their experience was, you know. So to me, the Bloods, they wasn't us. They wasn't us, and they can get it just as well as it was some Crips, they can get it.
In junior high at Vanguard, what's this? You started there at the 6th grade or 7th grade?
I started Vanguard in the 7th grade.
Okay, so 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, this whole identity is pretty much taken over you and your brother's lives.
Well, especially in the 7th after my grandfather died, like I said. So we didn't have no man in our life. Our mother was still being abusive toward us. So we really gravitated toward the gangbanging thing because that was family. You know, and basically is what it is. Like I told you, we played baseball every. We played basketball, we went swimming. So these are my friends. So now my friends is getting into it with the other gangs, whether it's Bloods or whoever it is, they getting into it with them. And I'm finna help my friend fight. So when, like I said, when we had the guns, we actually, I come out of my classroom one day, my brother had a cat from Anthony's Park in a headlock with the 38 to his head in the hallway at Vanguard. So everybody was screaming and hollering. I whipped out the 32 because I saw one of his homeboys coming. I whipped out the 32 about to bust on him. So then, I can't remember what really happened. I know my brother let him go, and we took off running, went to different classrooms, told all our homeboys, like, hey, let's go. And so we left school, security, school police chased us. We hid out in the sewer. Yeah, we squeezed up in the sewer and hid out in there for a couple hours, because after that, it's like the reality of it is, you gotta go home. And when you go home, your mama gonna kill you. You know what I mean? So we was like, we gonna run away. We ain't never going home again. We gonna live in this sewer. You know what I mean? Because we was that scared of moms. You know what I'm saying? But eventually, we went home and told her a whole different story. We told them that they did it to us. We was some young, stupid, misled kids doing something, you know, moving like grown-ups. You know, going back to Vanguard, we actually went to jail for that incident. You know, from the gun incident. My mother said my auntie worked for Compton PD at that time. And then we lied and told her that it was the Anthons who did it to us. So she's like, y'all not going back there no more. So then, man, about a week later, we at home like, yeah, we ain't got to go back to school no more. We partying, you know. Man, one morning, the school called the house. The phone rang. That's probably why I got high blood pressure to this day, man. The phone rang, and it was the principal from Vanguard. And my mother was like, what? We could hear it from the room. And she's like, Maurice and Mario. When she called our names like that, oh my God, your hair stand up on the back of your neck. And she said, get y'all ass up right now. Y'all ain't finna be like y'all uncle, because I had an uncle that was, he got a 25 to life, and he was in Quentin. And he just got out maybe like 5-6 years ago, you know, from back in the 70s, you know.
Campanella?
Nah, he was from the Grandies, actually. He was from the Grandies. But named Hub, they call him Big Hub. So, Larry Harwick. So yeah, so my mom's actually took Compton Police Department and told them to arrest us, you know what I mean? So they had me handcuffed to the chair, and they kept asking us, what gang you from? And they took my brother and put him in a separate room because he had a big old scar on his back. And they asked him how did he get it, and he told them how he got it. He was actually ditching one day at Vanguard, and the gate, he went through a chain link fence, and the chain link fence cut him on his back. Well, at that time, they could tell that my mom was real aggressive toward us, so they said, no, this looked like a belt mark. So they threatened my mom to take her to jail if we come in there with any other marks on us again, because she used to beat us with the belt buckle, extension cords, you name it. I thought she bought a whip one day because the extension cord wrapped around my arm, and I was like, damn, she bought a whip. But it was actually a extension cord, you know what I'm saying? And, but yeah, she took us to jail, and he kept asking me what gang I was from. I said, I don't gang bang. And at this time, I'm crying because he keep threatening me all in my face, and I want to do something to him. And he said, damn it, look at you. You got on red shoestrings, red belt, and a red hat. I actually looked down like that, and I was like, damn, I guess I gang bang. And that's the truth. Swear to God, that's how it happened.
Thanks for watching StreetGangs.com. Please like and share the video you just watched and leave a comment below to tell us what you think. You can also watch 2 of our previous episodes to the right. Please visit the link to our Patreon page and support our campaign. And don't forget to subscribe.